about halfway around the canyon, there's a pretty cool spot that I pulled in last year called Buck Canyon, and it's a hard sandstone carved canyon that goes down to the Colorado. And I stopped in and pulled out to do some time lapse, and I didn't notice there was a guy on a motorcycle standing behind me screaming at me, and I had my earbuds in so I couldn't hear him, but he'd scream at me for a few minutes. Then he caught my eye and noticed he was standing up there. And then I also saw his wife pulling up, and it was pretty funny. She was miserable, and it looked like she was carrying all their camping gear and everything on her bike, and no wonder she was miserable. But I felt sorry for both of them because I know neither of them were having as good a time as they expected. Since I came out here last year, this thing looks like it's been eroded a great deal, because what I remember last year was a really thick step right over there, and now this just it's a very gentle slope, but I remember it more pronounced like that. But things change, I guess, or maybe my memory is just faulty, but that's what I remember is my memory. Like I said, I think I'm about halfway, but fuck, I don't know. I know I came this far last year, and maybe another 5 miles, and I think I was just beyond the halfway point then, from looking at the map and talking to the other guys that I ran into out here. But I mean, it's 4 o'clock. I've got lots of sunlight. I'm just worried about the temps, because I don't want to have to ride back 50 miles in the shit. Let me just get on the fucking bike and then find out how long it's going to take me. to prove once again that it's always something. I'm having the freaking time of my life, and the goddamn clutch cable. I don't know. I don't think it's clutch cable now. It just kind of popped, and I thought, well, shit, it's a brand new clutch cable. I just installed it, you know, less than 1,000 miles back, and I look down there and it's all loose, and I'm thinking, ah, shit. I tried to adjust it all the way out, and then I'm thinking I could put maybe a washer in there or something and get me back to the rig. And then I look at the pulley or the lever on the above the clutch, and it looks like it's, I think I lost my pressure plate. That's the only thing that makes any sense, or a spring or something's come loose in there. Broken springs on the pressure plate. I don't know. I don't know enough about clutches to. So what I'm hoping now is to bump this thing off and get it back to the bus. I'm a long way from home. Bumping it off is the hard thing. I think I can probably keep it in a low enough gear to keep me out of trouble, and you know, changing gears on the fly is not that big of a deal, but you need a clutch out here. I mean, there's some nasty shit you got to go up. You can't, I guess it's second gear. I'll just kick it down in the second gear when I get to the nasty shit and just kind of throttle it out and try not to stall it. Main thing is getting it bumped off. That's gonna be hard as shit out here. At least this is kind of like pavement. It's not so muddy in this hard pack, so maybe I'll have some luck there. problem right there. That little shit right there. It's coming apart. So now I have to disassemble this motherfucker and order parts and replace. Yeah, the shaft is, you can see there's a lot of play in that shaft. So I need the shaft, I need some bearings, I need a bunch of shit. Looks like I'm gonna be working for quite a few hours and waiting. Probably my biggest loss in time is waiting for parts. So maybe I'll find something constructive to do while I'm waiting. So the problem is this release bearing here had a broken tooth on it, but that's not really the design flaw. That's just the result, and I'm going to have to replace this release bearing. They call it a release bearing. It's really a rack that pulls the clutch plates apart, and this release bearing goes through here. And the design problem is actually on the cover itself, and this is the inside cover, and that release bearing goes in here, and the rack fits on these teeth here, the pinion gear, which is the actuator for the clutch mechanism. And this port here should be made out of steel, but they dropped the ball and left it aluminum. The whole case is aluminum, and this thing wears and gets a lot of slop in here, and that's what causes the failure, is these teeth jump gear and chip off teeth. I think most of the time they chip off on the inside of here instead of the pinion gear or the rack gear. They chip off here. But I'm going to have to replace this. I'm going to have to replace that. I'm going to have to replace all these components here. The case, all these bearings, the actuator shaft, all this, everything except these two pieces, which I beat the hell out of with a with a hammer and this piece here. But just waiting on parts. They're on order now, and should be a week, hopefully. And after that, we'll see. Get it back together, get back on the road, hopefully.